By the time you finish watching this video, around 15 more Americans will have experienced a stroke. Yes, you heard that right. According to the CDC, nearly 800,000 people in the U.S. suffer a stroke every year, and over 600,000 of those are happening for the first time. But what's even more alarming is this. 3 out of every 4 strokes strike people over the age of 65. And here's the heartbreaking truth I see in so many of my patients. Most of them never saw it coming. Not because they ignored the signs, but because the signs were too silent, too subtle, until it was too late. A stroke doesn't just affect your body. It can take your speech, your memories, your sense of balance, even your independence. And for many older adults, it brings a loss far deeper than physical function. It brings silence where there once was laughter, stillness where there once was motion, and sometimes a quiet grief for the life that used to be. But here's the hope I want to share today. And I say this not just as a doctor, but as someone who has walked this journey with hundreds of patients and families. Up to 80% of strokes are preventable. And some of the most powerful tools for prevention aren't locked inside a pharmacy. They're sitting right in your kitchen. In today's video, we'll explore 6 everyday foods. Yes, foods you can find at any local store that have been shown in peer-reviewed studies to protect your blood vessels, support your brain, and lower your risk of stroke, especially after age 60. So take a deep breath, make yourself comfortable, because the next few minutes could give you something far more precious than advice. They could give you a path to more mornings, more memories, and more time with the people you love.
1. Dark chocolate, a sweet habit that could save your brain. Let me ask you something. Do you enjoy a little chocolate now and then? Maybe after dinner? A square or two while watching the evening news? Well, I've got good news for you. When it comes to protecting your brain after 60, dark chocolate, yes, the real kind, at least 70% cocoa, can actually help reduce stroke risk. I know it sounds almost too good to be true, but stay with me. A large study in Sweden tracked over 37,000 older adults for more than a decade. What they found was this. Those who ate dark chocolate regularly had a 17% lower chance of having a stroke. Not because chocolate is magical, but because it's full of something your blood vessels love: flavonoids. Flavonoids are plant compounds that help your blood vessels relax and open up. That means better blood flow, lower blood pressure, and a reduced chance of clots forming, the exact conditions that protect your brain from stroke. I'll never forget a patient of mine, Harold. He was 72, retired, and sharp as a tack. He came to see me after a minor stroke scare. We worked on a full plan: blood pressure, exercise, diet. And I remember how delighted he was when I told him he didn't have to give up his 1 square of dark chocolate after lunch. In fact, I encouraged it, as long as it was high quality and eaten in moderation. You see, dark chocolate also contains magnesium, which helps regulate blood pressure, and small amounts of theobromine and natural caffeine, which give the brain a light boost without overstimulating the heart. Now, here's the important part. You don't need a big bar. Just 1 or 2 small squares a day, about the size of a tea bag, is enough to deliver those benefits. When's the best time? After lunch or dinner, as a little dessert. But make sure you're choosing chocolate that's at least 70% cocoa, low in added sugars, and not packed with fillers. A few cautions, though. Don't overdo it. Even healthy chocolate is still rich in calories. If you're sensitive to caffeine or prone to reflux, start with a small amount and see how you feel. And if you're on blood pressure meds or antidepressants, talk to your doctor. Chocolate contains tyramine, which may interact with certain drugs. But for most older adults, when used wisely, a piece of dark chocolate isn't a guilty pleasure. It's smart prevention. You're not just satisfying a sweet tooth. You're feeding your brain. You're protecting your independence. So next time you're reaching for a snack, remember this. Sometimes stroke prevention doesn't come in a bottle. Sometimes it comes wrapped in foil, with a rich, bittersweet flavor that says, you're still taking care of yourself, one bite at a time.
2. Beans and lentils, the heart-friendly protein that protects your brain. Let me take you back to a patient I met years ago, Mr. Harris, 68 years old, retired teacher, living on his own after losing his wife. He came in worried about his blood pressure and memory. "Doc," he said, "I can't afford fancy supplements. What can I do with what I already have at home?" My answer surprised him. Beans and lentils. That's it. No pills, just food. You see, these humble pantry staples, black beans, lentils, chickpeas, navy beans, they're more than budget-friendly. For older adults, they are nutritional gold mines when it comes to stroke prevention. Let me break it down. Beans and lentils are packed with plant-based protein, easy on your kidneys and heart, fiber, which helps lower LDL cholesterol, potassium and magnesium, both of which regulate blood pressure naturally, and most importantly, folate. Now, why should you care about folate? Because one of the silent stroke risk factors in seniors is high homocysteine, an amino acid that damages blood vessels and raises your risk for clots. And guess what folate does? It lowers homocysteine levels by up to 25%, according to a 2020 study in Nutrients. That's not just theory. That's real protection for your arteries and brain. Let's do some simple math. 1 cup of cooked lentils gives you 15 grams of fiber, 18 grams of protein, 90% of your daily folate, and 730 milligrams of potassium. Compare that to red meat. No fiber, high saturated fat, and often inflammation in disguise. A major study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that adults who replaced red meat with legumes at least 3 times per week had a 30% lower risk of cardiovascular disease, including stroke. And here's the best part. Beans are easy. You don't need to be a chef. Just add some black beans to your salad. Make a quick lentil soup, or warm up a simple bean and rice bowl with olive oil and garlic. Worried about gas or bloating? Start with half a cup a day. Rinse canned beans thoroughly, or soak dried beans overnight. That removes the compounds that cause discomfort. I remember Mr. Harris coming back after a few months. He said, "Doc, I feel lighter and sharper, and I swear my pressure's better after I eat that lentil soup." His numbers agreed. Because stroke prevention isn't always high-tech. Sometimes it's a bowl of beans. So next time you're standing in your kitchen wondering what to eat, don't overlook the simplest choices. They might just be your strongest defense.
Something about avocados, that soft, buttery texture,
the way it spreads on toast or adds richness to a salad. But what if I told you this creamy green fruit is also one of the most powerful foods for protecting your arteries and your brain after age 60? Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I had a patient, Mrs. Dunham, 74, widowed, proud gardener, always brought me lemons from her backyard tree. She had borderline high cholesterol and was nervous about starting statins. Instead of jumping straight to medication, we started small. Half an avocado a day, that's it. Spread on her whole grain toast, sometimes mashed into a smoothie. And after 6 months, her LDL, the bad cholesterol, was lower. Her HDL, the good cholesterol, was up. But more importantly, she felt clearer, more energized, and her blood pressure had gently come down. Now let me explain the science behind that. Avocados are packed with monounsaturated fats, the good fats, that help reduce artery-clogging LDL cholesterol while boosting the kind that protects your blood vessels. In a major study from the Journal of the American Heart Association, adults who ate just 1 avocado per day saw significant improvements in artery function and cholesterol balance. That's not opinion, that's solid data. But it doesn't stop there. Avocados also give you more potassium than bananas, critical for blood pressure control. Magnesium, which helps your heart keep a steady rhythm. Vitamin K and folate, both essential to healthy blood clotting and vascular strength. And when Harvard researchers looked at women who replaced processed fats, like butter, with avocado, their stroke risk dropped by 21%. Why does this matter more as we age? Because with time, our arteries become less elastic, stiffer, narrower, more vulnerable to clots. Avocados help keep them supple, open, and oxygen-rich, supporting the flow of blood to your brain. How do you use it? It's easy. Mash it onto whole grain toast with a sprinkle of sea salt. Add a few slices to your salad or sandwich. Or blend half an avocado into a smoothie with berries and yogurt. Now, a word of caution. Avocados are calorie-dense. So if you're managing your weight or blood sugar, 1/4 to a half an avocado per day is enough. And always watch your portion if you're pairing it with other fats. But for most older adults, this isn't just a tasty treat. It's vascular medicine in disguise. So next time you're reaching for something creamy, don't default to mayo or butter. Choose the green gold. Because nourishing your arteries isn't about restriction. It's about the right kind of indulgence.
Number 4. Fatty fish, the brain's favorite protein. Now let me ask you this. When was the last time you had a piece of salmon? Or maybe a can of sardines tucked away in the pantry? If it's been a while, you might want to take another look. Because fatty fish aren't just good for the heart. They're essential for your brain, especially if you're over 60 and want to lower your stroke risk. I remember Mr. Alvarez, one of my longtime patients. He was 70, sharp-minded, loved crossword puzzles, but started noticing brain fog after retiring. Instead of reaching for another supplement, we looked at his plate. No fish, not even once a week. We made one small change: grilled salmon twice a week, a sprinkle of lemon, some dill on top. That was it. And over time, he said, "Doc, I feel like I can think clearer. My words come quicker." That wasn't just his imagination. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, mackerel, and trout are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, the kind that reduce inflammation, improve blood flow, and protect brain cells. A massive 2021 study published in Stroke reviewed data from over 800,000 people. It found that those who ate fatty fish at least twice a week had a 13% lower risk of ischemic stroke,
the kind caused by blood clots. Why? Because omega-3s lower triglycerides, a harmful blood fat, improve blood vessel flexibility, reduce plaque buildup in arteries, and help prevent abnormal clotting, one of the leading triggers for stroke. But that's not all. Fatty fish are also rich in vitamin D, which lowers inflammation and supports artery health. Vitamin B12, which protects nerve function and supports memory. Lean, high-quality protein to help preserve muscle as you age. And here's something I tell all my older patients. Brain health and heart health are connected. When your arteries are healthy, your brain gets the oxygen it needs. So how do you add fatty fish to your life without getting bored? Bake a salmon fillet with olive oil and lemon. Make a sardine sandwich on whole grain bread with mustard and greens. Mix canned mackerel with herbs and yogurt for a quick spread. And if the taste is too strong for you, use herbs, dill, parsley, lemon zest to balance it out. A few cautions. Stay away from fried fish. Those unhealthy oils can do more harm than good. Avoid large predator fish like shark or king mackerel due to mercury. Stick with wild salmon, sardines, trout. They're safer and more nutritious. You don't need fish every day. Twice a week is enough. Just make it part of your rhythm, like brushing your teeth or taking a walk. Because feeding your brain the right kind of fat can mean more clarity, more stability, and fewer silent risks creeping in. So, when you sit down to plan your meals this week, ask yourself, have I fed my brain or just filled my stomach? The difference could change the course of your future.
5. Berries, the tiny fruit that guards your brain. Let me tell you a secret I often share with my patients. Some of the best brain protectors come in the smallest packages. Yes, I'm talking about berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. They may look delicate, but inside, they're packed with power. The kind of power that protects your blood vessels, supports your memory, and lowers your stroke risk, especially as you age. I remember Mrs. Levine, 69, a retired librarian who'd started forgetting names and appointments. She didn't want pills. She wanted food-based prevention. So we made one simple shift. Berries with her breakfast, at least 3 times a week. Frozen blueberries in oatmeal, strawberries with yogurt, a berry smoothie on weekends. 3 months in, she said, I don't just feel sharper, I feel brighter. And that's not just anecdotal. In an 18-year Harvard study tracking over 93,000 women, those who ate berries at least 3 times a week had a 32% lower risk of stroke. Why? Because of anthocyanins, the antioxidants that give berries their deep red and blue colors. These compounds reduce inflammation in blood vessels, improve circulation to the brain, help relax arteries and prevent clot formation, even support healthy blood sugar, vital because diabetes dramatically raises stroke risk. Berries are also convenient. No cooking, no peeling, no prep. Add a handful to your cereal. Mix them into cottage cheese. Keep frozen berries on hand. They're just as nutritious as fresh, and they don't spoil. Pro tip, aim for half to 1 cup per serving 3 to 4 times a week, and mix it up. Blueberries one day, raspberries the next. Each color offers a slightly different blend of protective nutrients. Just skip the canned stuff soaked in syrup. The added sugar cancels out the benefits. So next time you open the fridge and see that bowl of berries, remember, you're not just having fruit, you're feeding your brain, and possibly protecting yourself from one of the most devastating events that can happen after 60.
6. Leafy greens,
the everyday vegetable that helps prevent stroke. Now, let's talk about something simple, something so ordinary, so quiet, that it often gets overlooked. Leafy green vegetables. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collards, arugula. These aren't just salad filler. They're stroke prevention powerhouses. In fact, if I had to pick one food group to recommend to every person over 60, this might be it. Why? Because leafy greens are loaded with folate, lowers homocysteine, a stroke-causing compound. Vitamin K helps keep arteries strong and flexible. Magnesium and potassium regulate blood pressure naturally. And nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide, a gas that helps relax and open up blood vessels, improving oxygen delivery to the brain. A 14-year study published in Stroke followed over 90,000 women and found that those who ate the most leafy greens had a 20 to 30% lower risk of ischemic stroke. And it doesn't take much. 1 cup cooked or 2 cups raw per day can make a difference. Even better, in one clinical trial, seniors who ate nitrate-rich spinach daily saw improved arterial function in just 1 week. Now I get it, some folks don't like the taste of kale or collards, but that's where creativity comes in. Sauté spinach with garlic and olive oil. Blend kale into a smoothie with banana and berries. Toss arugula into a salad with a light vinaigrette. And if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, talk to your doctor before making drastic changes. Vitamin K affects clotting, and your medication dose may need adjusting. But don't let that scare you away. With the right balance, leafy greens are some of the most protective foods you can eat. So ask yourself tonight, did I feed my brain today? Because stroke prevention might be sitting quietly on your plate, disguised as a handful of greens.
Closing. The small choices that save lives. Let's take a moment to look back. 6 everyday foods: dark chocolate, beans and lentils, avocados, fatty fish, berries, and leafy greens. No exotic ingredients, no trendy superfoods, just simple, accessible choices you can make in your kitchen. But don't be fooled by their simplicity. Every time you reach for beans over bacon, every time you choose kale over fries, every time you say yes to a piece of salmon instead of something processed, you're sending a signal to your brain, to your heart, and to your future that you're still in control. Because prevention doesn't begin in the emergency room. It begins in small, everyday habits. It begins on your plate. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just start somewhere. A few berries in your oatmeal, a scoop of lentils in your soup, a small square of dark chocolate after dinner. These quiet decisions, they become protection. They become power. They become your invisible armor, guarding your independence, your memory, and your mornings. So, if this message resonated with you, I invite you to share it with someone you care about, a spouse, a parent, a friend. Because stroke doesn't wait, but neither do we. Take care of your body, and it will take care of you.